Welcome to Field to Feast, where we profile Louisiana and its local ingredients. Today, we're at the Corn Maze at Burden, here to celebrate agriculture with the LSU AgCenter.
Field to Feast with Jennifer Finley is brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.
This beautiful day with Katie Guitro from the LSU AgCenter. Please tell me what you do and what's going on here today.
Yes, I'm so excited. So this is actually our second weekend for our Corn Maze. This is the LSU AgCenter Botanic Gardens. We do this every single year, and this is year number 11. It's very exciting. And this right here, we're in one of our many features, which is our animal farm. We have the most amazing animals in here, some things you don't see at the zoo even. This is more of a farm-based animal petting zoo.
So you have the llamas and the alpacas.
And alpacas. Today we have a horse, which is actually the first time we've had a horse here, so I'm super excited. And then we have bunnies, and then we have obviously dogs, sheepdogs. And then a few other really fun things, but that's just in this one area because this whole event is about kids and families, and maybe you're not into animals, but that's okay because we have so many other options for you.
It's about connecting agriculture.
Correct.
So talk to me about the agriculture side of this event.
Yes, so we have our corn maze every year. This is about 5 acres in all, but we connect people by teaching them, one, about corn production, which is actually one of the major production crops in Louisiana.
Yes.
Not just that, but we have other things. Like a couple of years ago, we had sweet potatoes. We like to introduce them, kind of sneak it in there, teaching them about the major crops in Louisiana. We also have hay out here. Some people don't even get to be in an area where they even produce hay. And it's like, they see it from a distance. And so we're connecting all of the different elements here. We have a hay mountain so they can climb. It's a play feature, but it's also ag-based.
Talk to me a little bit about this year's corn harvest, because I know it was kind of tough with the rains. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so we don't plant corn when they normally plant corn in Louisiana. Usually they're planting in the spring so they can harvest, late summer. We plant it in late summer so that it's still green for the corn maze. It looks better that way, and it's also safer that way because dry corn is a fire hazard. So we plant it late, and we hope that it doesn't get rained out. Well, this year it got flooded out. So it's a drowned out crop of corn. It grew the best it could, but it's a lot shorter.
But I mean, that's agriculture, that's farming, that's part of the education.
It's the gamble of agriculture. And I was talking to somebody who had a garden and they said, my corn did the same thing, so it's a good lesson about the struggles that farmers actually have to go through. They can't control the rain.
Right, so we actually did this on purpose so that we could have that lesson.
Exactly.
Well, I've lived in many different states across the United States, and I haven't really felt the way that I do in Louisiana, how much we cherish our farmers and our farming operations, and things like these are such a celebration of who we are as a state, as an agriculture state. Do you feel like that's part of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can see the joy on people's faces, and and then that reaches out to the understanding when they drive to the fields and understand that we have a lot of agriculture. Whether you go to Crowley and do rice, or you head up north and you hit the corn or the sweet potatoes. It's all part of our economy and who we are.
Next up, we're going to head over to Houmas House to visit with Chef Jeremy Langlois. He's planning to make us a bisque of curried pumpkin, crawfish, and corn. You're not going to want to miss it. We're in the kitchen here at Houmas House and Gardens. This is in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge when you're looking to get here. And today we're with Chef Jeremy Langlois. He's going to make one of his signature dishes, one he's very well known for, and it is a bisque of curried pumpkin, crawfish, and corn.
All right.
Yay!
I told you could do it.
Tell us all about it.
It definitely is a mouthful, but this soup, bisque of curried pumpkin, crawfish, and corn.
It sounds better when you say it. No fun.
I say it so fast, and I'm so used to it. But it's one of these soups it's one of these dishes Again, I created this dish when I was 23 years old. I'm 42 now, and it's one of these things that will never leave me. I had made it on a whim, and actually, maybe even as we get into it, I'll kind of talk about why I even maybe wouldn't think that now a 42-year-old Jeremy would even kind of have created this.
Please jump in. I read an article about you, and it made me so happy because they asked you, Jeremy, what would your plan B be? And he goes, I never had a plan B. It was this.
Well, and you know what I said? I said I would be no offense, but I would be an Uber driver because I literally don't know if I have any other skills other than cooking. You know, it's just been such a huge part of my life. I started whenever I was 16 years old as a dishwasher, randomly enough working for Louisiana Chef John Foles, and I just took I never really cooked much of my life, but I just was absolutely fascinated by cooking, and I just kind of took to it, and I just absolutely love it. I love the restaurant industry. I love cooking for people. I love the art and craft of cooking. So yeah, and it's what I've done for the last 25 years. Any good dish in Louisiana, we start off with a nice hot black iron pot and a little bit of oil heated up. We're working over some medium-high heat. And I've gone ahead and started cooking down a little bit of our Trinity, our onion, celery, and bell pepper.
Okay.
Now, Jennifer, I always start with I always start with the onion, celery, bell pepper. Then, of course, you got to hit your garlic, but I always come back with my garlic just a fraction of a second later. And let me tell you why I do that. And that's because
it burns a little bit more.
Exactly right. Man, you must have a lot of experience.
Well, I've been hanging out with you for a little bit now, and.
But yeah, so once we got this cooked down, now we're gonna add our next ingredient, which is just a little bit of flour. And look, I'm not putting much. Boom, just a couple tablespoons in it. Okay. This is gonna act as a thickener. And it's kind of this is just a classic kind of blonde roux technique in French cooking. And all I'm looking to do is pick up that oil that I had in the bottom of the pan, and it will give a little bit of thickness and body whenever we start to add our liquid, which is what we're going to do now.
Got it. What's next?
All right, so what we're going to go to next is now I'm going to kind of switch over to my whisk, and I'm putting some scoops of, this is our canned pumpkin that we're putting in.
Happy fall.
We use unsweetened pumpkin,
okay.
Canned pumpkin and you can see it actually as we whisk it in, it adds a thickener. And then now we're going to start to add a little bit of this corn, and this is just corn. You know, use any corn you like. You know, if you can definitely get fresh corn, just put it right off the
Louisiana.
cob. Perfect. This is a soup very much based on its seasoning. So let's go ahead and do that. You know, we're going to start off simple with some salt and some pepper. You know, you start with a little and you work more in. So now we're going to start to add the curry powder. I'm using a yellow curry powder. There's lots of different curries out there, but I like the yellow curry powder, which has turmeric in it. A little cream is going to mellow out everything and give the soup some richness. And then, of course, Louisiana being a sugar state, actually, we're going to put just a little bit of cane syrup in here, and this is going to add some sweetness, and it's going to balance out. We're going to taste it again in a second, and this is going to balance out look at that. This is going to balance out all those strong spices that we had earlier. So just to finish it up, we're going to add a little bit of parsley. Anytime I'm working with parsley or beautiful bright green herbs, I always throw them in right at the very end, because if I were to put it in while it's kind of simmering,
it would get lost.
Yeah, it's just going to cook to like what I call like an army green. It's just going to kind of cook to nothing, and we don't want that. And I'm going to do the same thing with our Louisiana crawfish tails. You know, I'm going to put these in right at the end because they come already cooked. So it's not like we have to cook raw crawfish in here. So it's already cooked. So we don't want to just boil them to death in here. So you put them in right at the end. That hot soup is going to warm up the crawfish in here. And now we're good to go. So let's go ahead. Let's switch over to our bowl. This is how we serve it at the restaurant.
This is the bisque of curried pumpkin, crawfish, and corn soup.
There you go. and this is it. You know, this was a soup that was on the opening of our Houmas House restaurant, Latil's, in 2005 when we opened up. It's never come off the menu. People would riot if we were to ever take it off the menu. It's been on the menu since day one.
20 years, this recipe, signature dish. This is great. We cannot wait to come back and see you again. And here you have it, everybody. Happy fall. Bon appetit.
Field to Feast with Jennifer Finley was brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.